Thanks for supporting the channel by clicking the links in the description box. And thank you so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And now let's get into this podversation. What's up, guys? We're going to have a podversation about Bill Cosby and all of this stuff that's going on right now with him being released from prison, all of the emotions that are going on either side, and just to talk about emotions versus the law. Now, we already know that when you have a loved one that's tried or that's even charged and may not even be tried, and they may have to serve time in jail, let alone prison, whether that person has really done something or maybe they just were found guilty based on it not being a fair trial, everybody has somebody that loves somebody, right? No matter if it was Jeffrey Dahmer or from the pettiest of crimes. So there are a lot of people who are upset with Phylicia Rashad. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to try to make this conversation very brief because, again, like I said, I don't want to get into all of the details about what he was charged with, all of the different accusers and all of that different stuff, because a lot of us already know all of that stuff. But I really just wanted to make this conversation just to give a different perspective and talk about emotions versus the legal system. We, for the most part, know that the justice system is not really just. There's a lot of inequality that happens, especially when it involves African Americans, right? I believe most of us can agree to that. So the emotions, a lot of the emotions are coming from people who are a part of this Me Too movement. And they are for women who claim to be victims of assault sexually, even if it has not been proven. And look, that's okay to believe somebody and to believe their story. Everyone has the right to believe who they want to believe. But when it comes to this situation with Bill Cosby, there was just so much going on. It really was a circus. And I didn't tune into all of it when he was being tried. To be honest with you, I was just really surprised that it even went that far. One, the man's in his 80s, and I'm not saying that just because someone is of an older age, they should not be held accountable for anything that they have done that was not right. Of course, I'm not saying that, but the reason we are even talking about this today and the reason that he has been released is strictly because of the law. And this is something that not many people, especially African Americans, see happen for them, because anyone who is found guilty has the right to appeal as many times as they want to until their appeals are exhausted. And you have the right to ask the Supreme Court to hear it. So one, we have to remember that the Supreme Court does not, and I'm not talking about just the Supreme Court over the entire country. Every state has a Supreme Court, okay? So the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, which is the state where he was tried and convicted in, every state has their own Supreme Court. Not every Supreme Court hears a case just because you have appealed to that court and requested that they hear it. They have to see that there are some circumstances in this case and in this situation that deems it worthy to be heard. And guys, I'm not an attorney. I never was, but I was a legal assistant for many years ago. So when I talk about these things, for me, I'm not coming from a place of emotions, which is why I wanted to create this conversation. I'm coming from a place of legality. And yes, again, the legal system is not very just all the time, but I just want to break that down for those who may not know. Just because a case has been requested by the Supreme Court of that state to be heard, they have the right to not hear it. They don't have to hear it. They don't. So they have to see that there is something that they deem worthy of them reviewing it. And then if they review it and they find that there is some facts indeed that will make this a worthy case for them to, to review, then they're going to do that. And even if they do that, that does not guarantee that they are going to find in that person's favor. So all of this was a crapshoot for Bill Cosby, okay? But his attorneys were doing the work for their client, period. When you have lawsuits, you have a side that is right and you have a side that is wrong. Sometimes you have wrong on both sides. It's not always that one side is right and one side is wrong. Sometimes there's just a lot of different things that are going on that there's wrong on both sides. And I'm going to say my opinion from the things that were shared about this case, there was wrong on both sides, okay? But the Supreme Court concluded that this prosecution of Bill Cosby should never have occurred, and it was due to a deal that he cut with the former Montgomery County prosecutor, Bruce Castor, who agreed not to criminally prosecute Cosby if he gave a deposition in a civil case that was brought against him by the person that was accusing him, which goes by the name of Constant. And that was an agreement that he made. Now, people may say, oh, he admitted in the deposition that he did this, and he admitted in the deposition to drugging, people and all that other stuff. I don't know all that was said, and I'm not here to read over the transcripts of the deposition, but he cut that deal with the prosecutor. That's no different than someone who is, say, for example, someone who has these accusations that are brought against them. They're trying to go for someone else that may be of a higher ranking than that person. So the prosecutor agrees, well, look, if you testify against this person, then we will not try you. Or if you testify against this person, then we won't give you as many years. But if you don't, then we're going to throw the book at you, and then you can just take your chances and go to trial, or you can just plead guilty and you may get lesser years than if you were to say, I'm not guilty, and the jury finds you guilty, and then you get sentenced to the fullest extent. And then that person decides, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to take my chances and cut a deal so that I could either not be tried, or I won't get as many charges or as many years or whatever. And then they do that. They're going after that higher ranking person. And then they said, you know what? We lied. Screw that. We're still going to throw the book at you anyway. We just wanted to get what we wanted to get. Although some people may see these deals that people cut with prosecutors as unethical anyway, and in a lot of instances they are, but that is how the legal system works. It's just how it works. And so who people really need to be upset with is not Bill Cosby. Get upset with the justice system, because that's how the justice system works. And for Bill Cosby this time, it worked in his favor. So people can say that he's guilty, or he did all these things, or he admitted to all of these things, but the law stands. And that's the way that justice system works. And it worked in his favor, whether you believe he is a predator or not guilty or whatever. That system worked in his favor this time. And it doesn't work out in the favor of people who have been convicted a lot of times. So his conviction has been overturned. But even with that conviction being overturned, he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison in 2018. Am I correct? Yeah, I am. And so this is 2021. There was nothing that said that he had to serve all 10 years. He was sentenced to 3 to 10 years. So in actuality, he's already served 3 of the 10 years that he was sentenced to. So I think some people who are getting all in their emotions and in their feelings about this situation, they're forgetting the fact that he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in 2018, and this is now 2021. The jail, prison, whatever, they could have released him in 3 years. And honestly, I believe they were going to do that anyway, because prior to this conviction being overturned, a few weeks ago, it came out that he was denied early release because he refused to enter into some type of program for people who are admitted sex offenders. And he said, I'm not doing that because, one, I pled not guilty. I'm not going to do that just to get out early because I'm standing on my principles with this matter, because I said I'm not guilty. Just because the justice system found me guilty does not mean that I am guilty, and I'm not going to go through this program and now say, you know what, yeah, I'm going to admit to it just because I was found guilty so that I can get out early. He decided to stand on what he believed to be right and not enter into a program that is calling him a sex offender when he declared that he wasn't and he pled not guilty. And I'm not sure if this was overturned. I mean, if this was not overturned and he served out his full sentence, or however many years from the 3 to 10 years that he was sentenced to, if he was released, if he would have had to register as a sex offender. I'm not sure. I don't really know, but he didn't do that. And now that this has been overturned and he cannot be tried again due to the double jeopardy standard, he does not have to file as a sex offender. Now, does that mean that his reputation is not tarnished? It absolutely is. I mean, he's in his 80s. I'm quite sure he's not going to try to do a reboot of the Cosby Show at this point. And he's just trying to just live out the rest of the years that he has here on earth, however many years left that may be. He's not trying to go out there and do a college tour, speaking tour, and, you know, doing a reboot of the Cosby Show or Little Bill or The Kids Say the Darndest Things or any of those shows that he had back in the day. His reputation in the court of public opinion definitely has been smeared. So I don't believe that he's going to try to get back out there and do anything to turn the views and opinions of people who feel however they feel about him around. People are going to feel how they're going to feel. And speaking of feelings, Phylicia Rashad, she has been his friend for many, many years, almost like family at this point, okay? And there are people who are extremely angry that Phylicia Rashad came out just showing her support for somebody that she truly cares about. She cared with previously, and she was shut down and people were coming at her because of that. And the thing about it is, she is like family to him at this point. So does he not have the right to have people that love him and care about him and want to show support for him and say, you know what, that's not the person that I know. He's never been that way with me or to me. So I'm just showing support for somebody that I love and care about. Is it okay that he has people in his life that cares about him and loves him? I feel that some people, they forget that, and they're just so hell-bent on feeling the way that they feel about standing up for women. And this, in this situation, it's not even supporting black women, because this wasn't even a case of a black woman that was coming against him or saying that he did these terrible, awful things to them. And he has family and he has friends. And some people are just so hell-bent on just standing up for and supporting women that they're forgetting that, I mean, he still has people that love him and care about him too. And Phylicia Rashad, she's like family to him at this point. So I don't think people should be trying to cancel her for just sharing how she truly feels about a person that she truly cares about. He never apparently did anything to her or made her feel uncomfortable or in any type of way. So it's just really sad that people are trying to get her canceled and trying to get her terminated from her job. And I believe she's, going to be a dean of a college. It's just really sad. I mean, I don't know. I'm not all about the cancel culture. I am about consequences for sure when they are deemed to be necessary. But someone just coming out and showing support for someone that they truly love and care about is just kind of hypocritical, I really believe. And it's okay for someone that you don't even know, for you to stand up for this person and say support women, and he's an offender and he's a predator and he admitted to doing this and he admitted to doing that, and you don't even know this woman. You don't even know if what she said is 100% true. And yeah, you can say, well, he admitted to doing some things, but I don't know. We weren't there. And also, she knows Bill Cosby. she may not know that side of him, but she knows him as a friend and almost like a family member. So is it not okay for her to just be supportive of someone that she knows, but strangers can support people that they don't know? That's the point that I'm trying to make. I'm not here to say that victims don't deserve to be heard, but I also am here to say that even those who have been accused have people that love them and care about them too. And not only that, he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in 2018, and he has served 3 years. And at the point of 3 years, it just so happens that the Supreme Court heard his case and they overturned the conviction. So it was almost like all of these things just simultaneously happen, and it may be a little bit unprecedented. It may be a little bit like this has never happened before, or maybe 1 or 2 instances of something similar happening like this, where someone is serving time and a Supreme Court hears a case and they overturn the conviction. It doesn't happen very often, I will say that. But people are so in their emotions and in their feelings, and unfortunately, you get a lot of this on social media, especially when it comes to a lot of these people who are celebrities or people who have, a huge following, and they are talking heads, so to speak, in media or whatever, and they're sharing their opinions versus just stating the facts. And I'm not here to really share my opinion too much. I have shared a little bit of my opinion, but I'm really just here to talk about, it's not about people's emotions and their feelings. It is about the law. And trust me, even though I know there's a lot of unjust things that happens in the justice system, it really isn't about emotions. Clearly, it's not about emotions, because they will convict people who have not really done anything, and convict people and not convict people who have clear and present evidence of things that they have done. And we've seen a whole lot more of that, even more so in these past, 5 to 10 years, with the rise of cell phone video footage and things like that. So I really would love to know what you guys think about it. I'm not here to say that he didn't do the things that he was accused of. I'm not even really here to talk about that at all. I'm just here to say that we have to be careful about allowing our emotions to take over when it comes to situations like this, because the emotions have nothing to do with the legalities and how the legal system works. And in this situation, the Supreme Court chose to hear his case and they overturned the conviction, point blank and period. We have the right, I don't want to say we, but people who are not happy about it, they do have the right to not be happy about it or whatever, but to just continue to say, well, he is this and he is that and he did this and he did that. Well, people can say, oh, it was just a technicality, but he did it. A lot of the things that he said, it could be that he said these things because he was trying to cut a deal. And this is one of the reasons why the case was overturned. The conviction, I should say, was overturned, was because he cut a deal with this prosecutor, and the prosecutor went back on the terms of that deal, and here we are. So again, those are just my thoughts based on all of these points. And I don't know if Janet Hubert from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the first mom who played Aunt Viv, I mean, she came out blasting Phylicia Rashad, and I don't know if she said anything about Bill Cosby prior to this. She may have, I don't know. But it just really seems kind of strange, because I do believe that it is the popular opinion to bash Bill Cosby at this time and tear him down. And it is the unpopular thing to do to come out in support of him. And I'm not here to do either. I'm just here to talk about the emotions versus the law, and how people really need to be careful when they allow their emotions to take over. And in this situation with Janet Hubert, I believe she allowed her emotions to take over by blasting Phylicia Rashad, because Phylicia Rashad is Bill Cosby's friend. Was Janet Hubert ever Bill Cosby's friend? And she came out and said, everyone knew that he was doing these things for years. Well, like, if she knew that, then why didn't she come out and say something in defense of the women before? Maybe she did, but I don't remember hearing anything about that. The only thing I ever heard her coming out and saying on social media was blasting Will Smith all the time, about how she got blackballed in the system because of how he and Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carlton on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, treated her on the set and caused her to be let go. I don't believe she was fired. I think she said she quit. But it was just a lot of things going on during that time. And I never really heard her come out and say anything regarding Bill Cosby. I only heard her come out and talk about Will Smith. So it's just very strange to me at this point. It just kind of seems like it's the popular thing to do at this point, is to come out swinging against Bill Cosby and say Me Too and support women and victims deserve to be heard and all of that other stuff. And yeah, those things may be true, but two things can be true at the same time. And in this situation, it's the fact that the Supreme Court overturned his conviction based on things that happened that were not supposed to have happened, as well as allowing witnesses to come and testify against him, stating that he did a lot of these things to them, but there were never any charges filed against him prior to that with the things that these other witnesses were coming forward and saying that he did. So these were just accusations that were allowed to come forward in this trial. And that normally isn't something that can happen. It's usually if they have prior convictions, prior charges that are related to this current case, then you can utilize those things as proof, tangible proof that this person is who we are saying that they are and who we are prosecuting right now, and here is your evidence. But just allowing people to come with hearsay or allegations during a trial is really not supposed to happen. It was not constitutional. So that's why he cannot be tried again on this double jeopardy. So it was dismissed, overturned with prejudice, and with prejudice means they can never bring it up again. So those are just my thoughts regarding all of this. I really would love to know what your thoughts are in the comment section about what I shared. Not so much about, I don't really care to hear about what he admitted to doing in the depositions or all that. I mean, all that stuff is all over in all of these other places. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the emotions that people feel about him being released at this time versus the law, and also the fact that his sentencing was for 3 to 10 years and he's served 3 years. So it wasn't that he just got tried, he was in prison for 3 months and then they let him out. He served 3 years of his 3 to 10 year sentence. So if he had served all 10 years and it was not overturned and he was released, if he was still alive, would people still be screaming bloody murder and saying Me Too because he's been released from prison? It's almost like people just want him to serve life behind bars, and I believe some people just really wanted to see him croak and die behind bars, and that's kind of sad. But people have the right to feel however they want to feel, I guess. But again, it's been overturned and that's it. So let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section. And again, I really appreciate you all liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next episode, I'm just being beautifully honest.